I think it's safe to say that old school survival horror has been going through something of a renaissance lately. Tight item management, clever puzzle solving, and even some fixed camera angles occasionally, that kind of stuff. Over the past 5 or so years, we gotten a whole lot of really good games coming out of this genre. With all of these releases coming over the years though, there's plenty of games that get sorta skipped over or just haven't had any exposure yet. And I want to rectify that in this video here with a game that I found. Sorry We're Closed, not to be confused with Sorry We're Open, which is another horror game weirdly enough, is the debut game by A La Mode Games. How many times can I say game in one sentence? Akupara Games is the one that published the game itself. And they've been sort of prolific whenever it comes to indie game publishing sort of in general. They made all kinds of stuff already. The roots that make up Sorry We're Closed are pretty plain to see if you like anything like Silent Hill or Resident Evil. Not only with its gameplay, which is very much of its ilk there, but also just with the aesthetic. Good old low poly feel, and it makes these environments seem really, really pretty. There's adequate use of both bright colors and incredibly dark, dingy ones, and despite those colors clashing aggressively in any instance where you're looking at it, it just makes this game have a completely unique sense of style, I feel like. This game isn't just one really long pretty picture though, oh no. See, because the real meat of this game's gameplay rests in its central mechanic. The third eye. On top of all the regular stuff you would be doing in a survival horror game, you also have access to this mechanic called the third eye. Properly explaining it here is going to take a little bit of time, but I'll try to keep it brief. Basically, it serves a whole bunch of purposes. For one, you can use it in combat. Doing so will make it to where you expose enemy weak points and be able to dispatch them quicker, more or less, so long as you're accurate, because you can only hit the weak points whenever your third eye is open. On top of that, the radius when your third eye is open isn't necessarily all that large. You can't exactly go sniping with it, so to speak. So there's an 8 risk reward here involved on top of your item management. You could be saving more ammo, but only if you're accurate, and only if you're willing to get that close to an enemy. As another cool surface level thing you can do with the third eye, it also helps with puzzle solving. See, imagine that you're playing Silent Hill for a moment, and you just have the ability to go into the real world or the other world whenever you want to. That's basically what you do in Sorry We're Closed. Depending on whether or not your third eye is open or closed, you get the ability to reveal items or reveal passageways. There's plenty of missable stuff depending on whether or not your eye is open or closed, and you can toggle it with just a single button press. Or if you're running, you can't run with your eye open either. A lot of this is just really cool, frankly, because also depending on the NPC that you look at, they'll have different appearances based on whether or not your eye is open. And it also determines whether or not you can talk to certain NPCs. There's a lot going on with this mechanic, and all of it is just really cool. It even helps to build the atmosphere a little bit too, because you can just use it to see alternative parts of the world that you're already walking in. Other world or real world versions of what you're already seeing. Let it be known first and foremost that this game is not very long. If you know what you're doing, you can beat the game in about a day. But nonetheless, there's just so much going on with this one mechanic, and they continue to innovate it as you play the game. If you're worried about a short runtime of the game in general, then, much like its contemporaries or even what it draws inspiration from, Sorry We're Closed is immensely replayable, having a whole host of endings that you can unlock. And since we're kind of moving on to it a little bit, the only real complaint I have for the game is that the intro just takes a little too long to get started. It does some proper world building and stuff, and if you don't care about any of that, then you can actually get started with the game proper in about, 2, maybe 3 minutes. I did say that this game is replayable, and I do mean that. It's just if you're going out of your way to experience the story or anything, then it takes a little bit longer to get started than most games, but again, only really for the first time if you decide to look into it. It's a little bit more narrative-driven than your typical survival horror, and let it be known that's a good thing too. The overall surrounding theme for the game's story is basically just love, and all of the good and bad that comes from that. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the game is also incredibly queer-coded, which should be a good thing, but let's be honest, this is the internet. I don't necessarily have the tact to discuss a topic like this, so I'm gonna keep it brief. And I'll just say first and foremost that having a queer main character and supporting cast makes an incredibly interesting horror game. It's neat, and if it doesn't make you uncomfortable, then I think it's a good and rewarding experience. It's different, if nothing else, and if that's your thing, then you can get the game for $25. What's more, if you want to just test the waters and see if it's your thing, there's a free demo available right now on the Steam page. Links to all of that will be in the description, and hey, while you're down there, why not like and subscribe? I cover a wide range of topics all across my channel, and if you want to throw around your own suggestions for a future video, then go ahead and join the Discord. If you feel like supporting me monetarily, then you can also join the Patreon for $1 a month. Doing so will give you access to exclusive sneak peeks for future videos that I make, as well as letting me shout your name out loud at the end of these videos. I think it's about time I wrap up though, so I hope you all enjoy the game, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all back here next Friday. Have a good day, everybody.